Morning folks, this is Kent with KJS Painting and Renovations, and today we're doing a video on how to wash and seal it's a brand new redwood deck, and there's a pergola up here. Then I take a saw and I look around for anywhere where there's something, and I try to get it out and just sort of carefully run it through to make sure all of these are clear. In some areas there are like somebody had a boot that had a little something sticky on it. There's some more over here, and here's a pencil mark that's left behind, so make sure you go with the grain and just kind of take that off. Sometimes you'll get areas where little bits of sap are coming up, so you got to use a putty knife to get those off. And if there's wood coming up a little bit, like right here, it's best to just break those little pieces off. See here, there's another area where some wood is slivering up, which wouldn't be very comfortable. So just take off these, just remove these and then sand them a little bit. Oh look, and here's something else. Here's a staple. We want to get this out before we put the sealer on it. Okay, we got that out. So it's been a couple of months, so it is dry enough where it's going to take a sealer. So that's important. If it's brand new, sometimes I won't seal it because it won't take anything, but this is ready for it. Okay folks, here's another excellent tip. You see these fasteners, they're the same color as the deck, which is really nice looking. This is another reason to sand with a piece of sandpaper versus just going over it with an orbital sander, because if you see right here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but when you touch the fastener with the sandpaper, it removes that coating, and that doesn't look so hot. So you're better off just kind of more thoughtfully going over it, just taking care of these little problem areas. Other than that, this is a beautiful deck. Knock off that edge. And here's another one where if it's if it's coming apart, it's gonna come off anyhow, so just knock those off. And it's always looking in between. Like here's another area where there's just a bunch of leaves in here, so we're gonna clear all that out. Same thing up here where there's any rough edges. Take some sandpaper, remove the rough edges. Over here there's more of the sap, so just try to get all this off of here. The homeowner is a sharp guy. He did some research and was wanting to use this, and I researched it, and it's water-based, low VOC, eco-friendly. I think it's a 30-person company. In California it's not available, so we got this stuff on Amazon. And we're going to use this wood brightener first. This stuff removes dirt, grime, tannin, rust, fungus stains, weathered graying. So this is essentially going to clean up for us. Something else to note, if there's any dirt touching the deck like over here, make sure that there's no dirt touching the deck. The procedure with this is 1 part wood brightener with 4 parts of water in a bucket. I have 2 brushes. This one's stiffer and this one's a little more supple. So it's important to wet down the job first before you start. To be methodical, I'm going to go in sections. You brush the stuff on, let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, and then you rinse it off. Okay, so I'm going to brush this on to a few boards and just work methodically. Okay, first time using this stuff, and I must say I'm satisfied with how this is working. Now don't do too many at a time. Go back and rinse it off before it gets dry. And rinse off the house too, to get the dirt off the house. Now we're going the other direction. I'm doing one side of these at a time because it's easier to be methodical that way. I'm finishing up here with the beam And the post over here. Okay, I'm going to mix up a fresh batch of this for the deck. I think I exhausted it up top here. So for this job, I'm just going to use what we got. Okay, so I got these wet down, and I'm just going to do a few boards at a time here and just go the full length back and forth and just work my way that way. I'm a big fan of using a soft brush and scrubbing. I think the mechanical action is what's going to do it, and it's safe. I would not use a power washer on this. I would just use the cleaning action from the wood brightener cleaner and then a brush. I recommend the flat or fan setting. Look at how much cleaning we've been doing. Just look at how dirty that is. Okay, I'm a fan. Take a look at how clean our shade structure is. Well, it's Friday, so we're going to come back Monday and give this a coat. Well, it's Monday. We're back. Last Friday we washed, meaning I washed the pergola and the deck, and today we're putting a nice water-based stain on that. The deck has been drying for 2 days, but with this product it could be applied almost immediately after the wood is dry. And it's a 2-coat back-to-back system. You put on 1 coat, wait 20 minutes, and then put the 2nd coat on right after that. So it's kind of like a 1-coat, but that's the procedure. Just spot sand some of that. I did add some blue tape over here just to keep the product off of the house. But first we're going to do the pergola. Okay, there's areas like this where the grain is really raised. I just pull these off. And so anything like this can just come off. You almost don't need sandpaper. So here's our water-based, eco-friendly product here. So I got my big stir stick, and you got to stir it up really nice. There's virtually no odor, certainly no solvent, mineral spirits. I can already tell this is going to be easy to apply. Got my drop cloth and my product. I've got a clean wet rag in case I get any of the product in the house. You just wipe it off with this. The manufacturer recommends using a nylon brush, and I recommend not getting any of the product on the fasteners. Just don't brush it on there. And the procedure is to go ahead and to do the entire piece. Don't stop in the middle. You just go all the way down and then let it dry completely, about 20 minutes, and then come back and then just do it again. So it's a 2-coat back-to-back system. Sometimes it's good to wrap your putty knife with a rag, and areas that otherwise are hard to get to, you can get those off too. On top where these fasteners are, I'm just going to flood in a little extra product because I can see where water could just sit in there. Really flood that in there. Here's a professional tip for you for the brush. A lot of folks tend to just barely dip it, and then the heel will get kind of gummy. So every now and then really get it kind of saturated and then scrape it off, and that will keep your brush from getting gummy. It's good to keep your eyes moving, so if you see some slags, you come with the dry brush and then you kind of brush out any slags. We're still on the first go here. Well, it's been about 30 minutes. We've done a few boards and we're getting on to the 2nd coat, and it needs to be nice and dry. We're just getting on with the 2nd coat here. Careful with the nice brackets. And this stuff is really nice to work with. Wow, this looks great. And even though we've already done 1 coat, the wood is still soaking this up, so which is important with this product. So we're at a good time, and also it's overcast, which is important. If it's really hot, it's not good to do this, but we're lucky we got a nice overcast day. Here's a tip to stay on track. Once you've got a beam fully coated, you could just put a piece of tape on it. Like so, once I've got 2 coats on there, then I know that that one is done. That way I could be systematic, and as I go, I just keep marking them. Take a little extra time on the end grain because this is where it's going to weather the most. One thing I do like about this this water-based product versus the oil-based product is it does tend to build up a bit more. I'm not so sure if we can see that. It will crack, but it will build up more. And I noticed that it's starting to fill these little cracks, which means it's going to preserve the wood better. And the oil-based products, they just don't do that as well. And one thing about this product that you got to look out for on the vertical surfaces is that sometimes it will start to run a bit, so you got to go back with the dry brush and lay those down, otherwise they leave a mark. Well, it's day 3, and I can see how this Defy Extreme wood stain is really beating up the water, and that's looking nice. I'm pleased with that. And for reference, here's some boards that are yet to be finished, and of course those are just breathing in the moisture, whereas these ones, all of these are sealed, and that's pretty clear. Here's another tip to make this last longer, where these fasteners are that you're going to get a lot of water. What you can do is you can flood it with this stuff, and that's going to help seal this up. Okay, moving on to the deck with our Defy Extreme wood protection, the water-based stuff. The idea is to do a whole length of this, and you shouldn't stop in the middle. You're supposed to keep going. It's a good idea to use some blue tape here to block off areas and protect them. I've also got some blue tape on the sidewalk here to protect the concrete. So plan the job, work it in sections that you can reach, because in 20 minutes we have to come back and hit it again. And before you move on to the next section, take a drier brush, and if there's any areas that are sort of needing to be laid down, just hit them one more time. Keep a putty knife on hand, so if there's a chunk of gravel, you can knock it down or take it out, one or the other. Here's another tip that's working well when you apply this, when the brush is good and wet. Work it into the crack there, that way most of it goes down in. And that seems to be working pretty well as well. To keep unwanted drips from becoming a problem, I'm working these 4 boards here at a time, and so what I do is I keep the bucket in line with those 4 boards. So when I'm going from the bucket to the boards, if there's any drips, it's not going to cause a problem. And let's say if there is a drip outside of the lines I'm working, you take your wet rag and you just sort of wipe those off so they don't dry and leave a little round stain. So one more tip. Back to where we started now. This is dry enough for the second coat. Well, this part is second coated, so before I move on to the next section, I just take the dry brush again and just sort of lay down anything that's sort of standing up here. To help keep me be systematic and methodical, after I double coat a run of boards, in these case, these 3 boards, I put a piece of tape on the wall so I know that these 3 have been double coated. I did not finish in one day, which is good because it's going to allow me to, I can come walk on this surface. I'm going to finish these boards working that way. I thought I'd give a nice shot of how this product looks. The homeowner's really happy with the color, and he's happy with just the overall look of it. The wood is definitely protected now, and it's going to really be an extension of the house. It's almost like an interior floor. It's really nice. Here's a shot of the product again. It's Defy Extreme Wood Stain. This is a semi-transparent wood stain and a redwood finish. Homeowner got it on Amazon, and he ordered this as well. So I think I'm going to end this video now. Well, this concludes this video. This has been Kent at KJS Painting and Renovations. And if you'd like any help with this sort of thing, please give me a call or give me an email. And if you find these videos helpful, you can always go to PayPal. You don't need an account, just go to PayPal and use Kent.Schneeveis@gmail.com, and you can throw some bucks my way or not. So yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch these videos.